Okay, so let's start this over. So I literally just made a video about this and decided not to post it for whatever reason. And I'm kind of glad I did because DJI just announced a new product that's launching on November 5th. And it looks, from what I can see, it almost looks like a wearable tracking device. That's what it looks like. I could be wrong. It could be the top of a vacuum. We gonna see. I'm gonna put the picture up and y'all be the judge of that. I mean, there's so many use cases for a tracking device for a camera, right? For a gimbal. So many use cases. I mean, they already kind of have, like, it's great and all for, okay, here's a simple, I'm getting too far ahead of myself right now. Before I get into all the use cases of what a tracking device is, let me break this down and why I think this could be the most revolutionary product that's ever come out in the film industry besides AI, right? And especially for solo filmmakers like myself. It would cut down on cost, first of all. It would cut down on cost on so many crew members, right? If they do it right. Now, it's almost like eliminating the cameraman. That could be kind of scary. That could be very scary for some. Eliminating the cameraman. Now, I'm going to say this before I go any further. A cameraman is always going to be necessary for necessary type of cameraman shots. All right? Does that make sense? Like, if I need somebody to run with me or to follow me, a gimbal's just not going to be able to do that regardless. You're not going to lose your job just yet, Mr. Cameraman, right? But, it should be optional. I should have a device that follows me anywhere I go. Even if I go behind this wall right here into the next room, it should still be tracking me, right? If I go to the next room, it should still be tracking me, even though it's just going to be looking at the wall, like it's still in the direction of me. So when I re-enter the room, then it's still like, hey, I'm still here, right? Now, what would be great in all if they do this right is if they actually attach this gimbal to a PTZ lens, which is a pan tilt zoom lens, or just any type of zoom lens, period, right? Where, it would, I'm getting too far ahead of myself. I'm so excited about this. I don't know if y'all could tell. I've made so many videos about this already. So I still haven't even pulled up my notes yet. So let's see, sir. All right. What's the key word here? Keyword is, all right. So let me start off with the notes that I wrote, right? Because I had a little conversation with ChatGPT about this, right? And I was trying to describe what I wanted to describe, and it was like, exactly what you're describing is the difference between a collection of compatible components and a unified system. So what I mean by that is, you have the lens, you have the mic, you have all these things, right? But they're not working together. And a tracking device, a wearable tracking device with a built-in microphone in it would make everything sync together, right? It would literally complete the entire package because, for one, I can tell it, since I'm wearing a built-in microphone and it's a tracking device, I can literally tell, my camera, my gimbal, my lens, all at the same time to say, hey, the gimbal, if I'm wearing the tracking device, the gimbal's gonna be following me. So I don't even need to tell me anything, right? Other than maybe off tracking or off, what is it? The rule of thirds, I know with some gimbals you have to go like this and off position yourself to the side or whatever. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Those of y'all who probably own the Hohem 7 or DJI the 4 or the, you know what I'm saying, or the Scorp. There's a couple of them already that do this. And it's great and all, but it's so limiting because it loses me too many times. Even when I'm not doing anything. I'm literally just in the kitchen, just walking left and right, and it gets tired. Like, really what it is meant for people who do YouTube, right? And what if I'm not doing YouTube? What if I want to act and do an acting scene? I'm not supposed to be looking at the camera while I'm looking at, you know, while I'm looking at the camera. That's dumb. You know what I'm saying? I'm supposed to be in the conversation of with whoever I'm in a conversation with. Most acting scenes are like that anyways, right? And then you know, but on to the next. So what ChatGPT said, a system on the other hand would mean that all those pieces are designed from the ground up to share data and react together. All right? Like a closed loop ecosystem. For example, the lens will send focusing distance and aperture data to the camera. All right, this is all distance data. This is the revolutionary thing that I'm talking about. Distance data is going to change everything. And unfortunately, it will eliminate some jobs, like the focus puller. Sorry if you're a focus puller, but hey, man, you got to go. You never really was necessary in the first place. And you should have known deep down that you were going to be one of the first ones to go. It makes no sense why all this technology in 2025, why we still need a focus. It just doesn't make sense, right? Now, if you're doing a very specific focus pulling, right? What I mean by that is sometimes you watch a movie and the focus is on, one thing and then goes and focuses on the main subject, right? Or vice versa. Sometimes maybe there's a scene where they're emotional or whatever and is focused on them, and then next thing the background is blurry, they're on a beach or something like that, and then the subject becomes blurry, and then the focus is on the beach, and then it's like, fade out or whatever, right? Cool. You know what I'm saying? But even with that type of shot, AI or a tracking device like this should be able to do that. Should be able to do that, right? This is nothing but data. That's all it is. Like, hey, I want you to focus on me. Hey, I don't want you to focus on me. All right? Real simple. Focus on something else. All right? The camera would relay that plus framing data to the gimbal. The gimbal would anticipate movement and adjust before the shot drifts. And the audio system could even help by recognizing who's speaking and signaling the camera to refocus automatically. That's a very important part. If they make this tracking device without a built-in mic, oh my lord, I'm gonna make a whole nother video about this and why that's so important. That's probably, I ain't gonna say more important than the tracking device itself, but it's crucial that it has a built-in mic in it. All right, let's just say the built-in mic is not internally recording. I'm gonna be, not so hyped up about it, or by it not having internal recording, 32-bit flow, all of that good stuff, whatever. But it's at least got to be able to communicate with the gimbal, right? Because if I want a different type of shot, right, if I want to go from wide to close to mid, then I'm going to literally have to stop what I'm doing, right, and go to the camera and then readjust my framing, right, and then say, all right, let's go again. Let's do this again, which would be kind of like, I ain't gonna say pointless, because I still want the tracking device. All right. I know I'm probably getting too far ahead for technology to understand what I'm talking about here, but I should be able to say, hey, give me a wide shot right now, and it just automatically gives me a wide shot while still being able to focus on me and everything. Uh, but anyways, so this is what I was saying to um, to ChatGPT. I responded with, um, now we're going to add all of those parts together and create a system. The beacon, we're going to add a beacon to all of this, and that's what makes it into a system. We already established that, right? Because what a beacon is going to allow us to do, uh, you got these cameras that, okay, I kept on rambling. And so basically, ChatGPT said, ChatGPT always like, Chat likes to always be positive. Says absolutely, what you just described is visionary, and I could summarize it cleanly. All right, great. The concept summary, the beacon-based smart camera system. That's what they called it, right? The idea is to move beyond traditional filmmaking gear, where each piece, camera, lens, gimbal, etc., works independently and creates a unified, intelligent camera system that communicates as one. At the heart of this system is the beacon, right? A small data transmitting device worn by the subject or actor. The beacon constantly sends real-time location and movement data, distance, direction, and speed to the camera ecosystem. This data allows the system to automatically control focus, framing, and zoom, maintaining the perfect shot at all times. Unlike standalone cameras with limited locked-in software, this concept takes inspiration from the iPhone's app ecosystem. I was talking about the iPhone when I was mentioning it, right? But it's the reason why I say the iPhone, it should start with the iPhone first, is because there's so many apps out there, and somebody could build an app specifically for all these different things. Like because like when you get a camera, let's say you buy a Black Magic camera. Well, the software that's built into it is just that. There's no switching to another app to do something else. Saying, for one, an app that would be so cool is to upload your script. So that way, your camera device knows your script already. So whenever you're doing these scenes, right? Whenever, like, I'm wearing a beacon, actor 2 is wearing a beacon, right? And I say my lines, right? And then they say their lines. Well, if you only have one camera system that does this, well, it would gradually shift, right, to person A, person B, and keep it in a certain type of framing, right, that you can adjust on the fly, right? Or another thing that you could do is zooming in. Sometimes what you're gonna say, right, uh, depending on your line. Remember, this is all without a director. This is all without a cameraman. We're trying to create content, and it's just me and the homie, right, trying to create a scene. Well, placing wherever you need to place your camera system. Well, what if I'm saying certain lines that cause for the camera to be zoomed in? You know what I'm saying? Because this particular line has more emotional value. So since it knows my script, right? And I say, hey, on this particular part, I want you to zoom in when I'm saying these lines, it's already actively listening. Kind of like the same thing as, what is it? The translation. You got these devices that automatically translate somebody saying something in a different language, and then they repeat it back, in English or whatever language that you speak, right? Same thing. It's actively listening and then adjusting on the fly. Like, all right, I'm saying these lines and I need you to zoom in while I'm saying these lines, right? Because this is what I want, right? I'm a visionary or something like that, right? Um, well, having an app um, that you can upload your own script or own scene or whatever, you should be able to do that, right? And then but just a camera, uh, most cameras, if not all cameras, just have a built-in software where that's it. Like it's what you see is what you get. You know what I'm saying? So, anyways, that's why I said, hey, starting off with the iPhone, and then other camera companies will follow suit and start to build a more open operating system for their cameras, because they already have their core, operating system for that camera, for that specific camera. But if Apple has taught anybody anything, and people are able to, I remember Canon, Canon kind of did it, but not directly, right? Because what was it? Magic Lantern. All right, so Canon had this camera that came out in 2012, and then Magic Lantern was like, you know what? We're gonna take what y'all got and make it better. And they added their own software. It might have been illegal, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Or it might have voided the warranty of the camera, whatever, right? But, Canon wasn't really having that. They was like, nah, we don't want this. And Magic Lantern eventually stopped doing what they stopped doing somehow. But whatever. But imagine other companies or just other people creating more apps for your camera. You know, I'm not going to be able to think of everything, but that would be a super dope app to have. Uploading your own script so it can follow what you're saying. You know, why the fuck not? But anyways, I got so much more. Got so much more. All right. So, okay, so by starting with the iPhone as the base camera platform, developers can build apps that plug into the system, each app adding new layers of intelligence and creative control. Over time, the same concept could expand to traditional cameras from companies like Sony, Canon, Panasonic. Basically, what I was saying, right? How it works. The beacon tells the camera and gimbal exactly where the subject is in 3D space. I don't care what technology they use. They could use LiDAR. They could use UWB. I think it's called UWB, ultra wideband, Bluetooth. They can have so many things that could work with each other and not against each other, right? Don't just lock it into just Bluetooth, because then that kind of like, use everything. Use it all somehow. It just switch it from, they got these with GPS, they got it to where it literally can locate something by the inch, right? And by the millimeter, damn near, which is crazy. They already have that technology. I'm just saying, put it in a camera, right? But okay, so all right, so the camera app uses the data to determine framing: wide, medium, close up, cowboy, etc., and automatically adjusts zoom and focus to match the intended shot type. And I should be able to communicate it with the microphone, right? The script integration adds another level. When an actor reaches specific lines in the dialogue, the system can smoothly transition from one shot type to another. For example, from a wide shot to a close up based on preset cues. Super dope, right? The gimbal and mount. Move in sync, automatically panning, tilting, or even raising, lowering the camera to maintain ideal composition. Now, that will require a different type of gimbal, right? We have the gimbals that go left, right, up, down, tilt, right? And then we would have, they already have this, but there, I don't think there's anything, but there's nothing that actually raises a camera, right? And they have that already. They got a boom pole that literally goes up and down automatically, and that could hold a certain amount of weight. They already had that technology integrated with it, right? This will be super dope because, I mean, you know, you got Potato Jet's Tribeca thing. Then you got the what is it called? The, I forgot, that expensive tripod or whatever, right? And but imagine having a smart tripod that is built into this whole system, right? So you have a tripod that can go up and down. First of all, it can carry the load that you're wanting to carry, right? And then it can literally go up and down. And all you're doing, and that beacon is literally telling it, hey, you know, to go up and down. That's all you really need to do, right? Now, if you want to put it on a slider and make it go left and right, that's a whole nother thing, right? And that can go up and down. We gotta, I don't know how this thing would look like, but all of this could be integrated into one ecosystem. Now, this is additional stuff. I'm not even going to expect that to be, you know, I'm not even going to expect that to happen anytime soon, because that will require more, uh, physical hardware to be made, right? And that could be complicated in its own right. But eventually, that is something that's going to happen as well. You're going to have tripods, and not just any type of tripods, but smart AI functional type of tripod and sliders, right? My suggestion is to make it circular, right? So, because if it's like a circular motion, it can constantly be in movement, right? And then the gimbal can literally go left and right while it's on a circular slider. So that could be really cool, right? You could literally place that anywhere and have, I mean, they already have the 360, and the 360 is cool, but let's be honest, ain't nothing cinematic about that in the traditional, right? Um, Now if they could somehow make a 360 and have the picture look like a anamorphic lens, then that would be crazy. But I'm totally not expecting that, because you gotta literally bend science in a different realm. It's like physically impossible for you to make a lens that would be able to do that, if that makes sense, right? And then the 360, you know, it's already so much data that's probably trying to record, and then trying to make it 12-bit log. Yeah, that's some super futuristic stuff. You know what I'm saying? I'm just here in 2025, which I believe all of this can happen right now. This little idea that I've been constructing for the past couple of months, it's very possible. I really think it is. All right. So, the result, what we ended up with isn't just a camera setup. It's a smart, self-operating film crew. A director could stage scenes, feed in script, assign shot types, and the system would handle all the camera movements and focus changes automatically. This creates a future where filmmakers can work solo or with small teams, yet still achieve dynamic cinematic shots that normally require multiple operators. All right. So we haven't even got to the built-in microphone, right? So the voice to action, the beacon's mic listens to the dialogue live. When an actor hits a cue, okay, we already discussed that one. Voice recognition and scene awareness. So another thing that'll be really cool is, having more than one beacon, more than one wearable device, right? If there's 5 actors in the scene and I want, uh, and we have 5 different cameras, and each and every one of those cameras is following a specific person at the same time, right? We don't have to do multiple takes in a sense, right? And which is really crucial for movies that require like it's very difficult to do comedies, right? Because comedy, I you can't just create comedy. You can only, like, if something's funny and you're getting reaction from everybody at the same time, it's hard to duplicate that, right? And the type of movies that could be made with this can actually make a whole different type of comedy, right? Because if everybody's involved and everybody's tuned in, right, you could have a whole different type of show. Because you're not like, all right, rehearsing these lines in a sense, right? You're just going live with it. It'll be really cool for live things, right? I imagine, like, I imagine telling everybody that walks into this building, say, hey, when you walk into this building, you're gonna put this device on, and we have cameras everywhere, right? We have it would be great for reality shows, for one. And you don't have to worry about repeating the line, right? I mean, each and every one of these microphones are recording internally. And then I'm getting way too far ahead for this video, but I just imagine everybody who walks into this house. I got cameras everywhere. Wear this beacon. All right. Now, whatever happens, everything's being recorded from all different types of angles, right? And you have, when you walk into a room and you're the only one that's in that room, well, then that particular camera is going to connect to your beacon, right? When you walk out the room, is waiting for the next person to come in and then start recording them, right? Everything's live. Everything's a reality show, right? Let's say 3 people walk in the room. Well, it's literally going to create a wide shot to capture all 3 of those people and have all of them in the same shot, right? Now, if you have 2 cameras set up in that room, you can have one constantly doing a wide shot. 3 people walk in that room. You got one that's constantly doing a wide shot, and then the other camera that is um, literally tracking on who's talking, or at least talking the loudest, right? That way, you're getting more close-up shots, and then all this footage, it's so dope. How I really like how Blackmagic Cloud is, right? Because I think Frame might have it. I'm not for sure, but I could literally be uh shooting something right now and it's automatically being added to the cloud, right? And I can be an editor in a whole nother room, editing exactly what needs to be edited. And then they have AI to automatically cut everything, right? You got this type of shot, that type of shot. Uh, you got this person talking, that person talking, right? And it's all coming to a live editor, and it's automatically being edited at the same time. Imagine that. Imagine that. Like, you don't even have to worry about editing. You can literally just do what you want to do, and then, like, it handles everything for you. Like, that's the type of futuristic shit that I'm on. I can only imagine, because it does feel like there's been so many times where, as an editor, it does feel like I eventually will be replaced by AI machines anyway. But and then on top of that, with me being the cameraman guy, right, for my family, there's been so many times where I missed out on being in the shot, right? And I got footage of wife, kids, and then like where am I at in there? You know what I'm saying? Like I'm the one holding the camera. I miss those shots, right? I'm because I'm the one behind the camera, right? So it would be really dope if I could just have a system like this. This is for my own personal use, my own selfish, you know, wants, but I feel like a lot of people could relate to that and would like that as well for their own system, for their own home system, recording system. It would be super dope. And then you have the option to turn it off, turn it on, whatever. You know what I'm saying? You just say, hey, we're going to record. Everybody wear a beacon. You know what I'm saying? And let's all have a good time. You could just literally just be live with it and then watch that stuff later, I guess. I don't know. That is where I feel like this is going to end up. If they do decide to create something like this, it would only be the beginning of something that would, like I say, be truly revolutionary. Anyways, I'm out of here, y'all.